Well, guys, the Democrats are taking a lot of L's, and we got some breaking news here. The Supreme Court has ruled against Biden's student loan forgiveness program, his plan. That means that, yes, your loans are not going to be forgiven, which I do got to be honest here. I mean, oh boy, who didn't see that coming? Like, come on, guys. We knew this was coming, which is why I don't really understand the outrage that we're seeing on social media where everybody's getting like really upset and all that. And it's just like, bro, you guys knew this was going to happen. Like, look at how the Supreme Court has been ruling the last few days. Like, come on, bro. And then also, Donald Trump literally put like 3 Supreme Court justices on the bench, and they were all conservative. So you know that there's 6 conservatives on the bench and 3 liberals. So you should kind of figure out how they're going to rule. They're going to rule on the ideological party lines. That's just how it goes. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. So anyway, here's the Washington Post tweet. Breaking news, the Supreme Court has said President Biden does not have the legal authority for his nearly $500 billion plan. Basically, they're just saying $400 billion. I don't know why they're writing it like that. To forgive student loan debt, the latest blow from a Supreme Court that has been dismissive of this administration's bold claims of power. Ooh-wee, that's right. We are getting smoked, guys. Well, there's a lot to unpack here. I'm going to try and keep it short, sweet, and to the point. So let's unpack this whole thing, okay? First off, there's a lot of Republicans out there who are saying, oh, well, this isn't fair. Why do I have to pay your loans? Why do my tax dollars have to go to paying off your student loan debt and blah, 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 which to me is hypocritical because the United States government gives handouts and uses our tax dollars for a lot of things that, kind of bail people out, like, for example, when you look at the PPP loans, that was taxpayer dollars that got spent to basically help a bunch of criminals, literally, like a bunch of criminals. Like, you could even look it up. I think the recent Inspector General report said that $200 billion out of that program were fraudulent, which means a bunch of criminals made away with $200 billion collectively, and the United States government is dragging its feet and going after all those people. I say all that to say people's PPP loans got forgiven. So it's funny how you're mad when the government wants to forgive people's student loan debt, but you're not upset that people's PPP loans got forgiven. Your tax dollars forgave PPP loans for a bunch of criminals who literally did the exact same thing that you're accusing liberals of doing. You're like, oh, I'm not paying on for your student loan debt so you can go out and buy a Tesla with the money and go on your fancy trips and buy designer clothes and make bad financial decisions. Well, that's literally what happened with the PPP money. There was a bunch of frauds and criminals who lied on the application, said they had a business when they actually didn't, used other people's identification that wasn't theirs, and stole $200 billion and took that money and bought real estate and bought fancy cars and took trips to Dubai and literally all the same stuff. So I just think that that's hypocritical, just being honest here. And I also want to speak to this other point because there's another talking point on the Republican side where they basically said that, well, for the last 3 years, you had 0% interest. And I'm not going to lie, they have some truth to that. We did have 0% interest on our loans. However, it's not that easy because here's my thoughts on that. If you only had student loan debt as your only debt, then yes. If that was your only debt and you refused to pay down the principal amount of your student loan debt and at least put a dent in it these last 3 years while you had 0 interest accruing, then yes, that is a terrible financial decision and it is your fault for that. I agree with you guys on that. However, you have to look at it this way. Not everybody has that position where student loan debt is their only debt. As a matter of fact, most Americans have more than just student loan debt. They have multiple debts. And in my personal opinion, if you have to choose between paying your student loan debt, which for the last 3 years has had 0 interest, 0% interest accrual, or other debts like credit card debt, which could have anywhere from 17% to 25% interest accrual, or other debts that have anywhere from 7 to 10% interest accrual, well, it would actually be smarter to pay those debts first, which I like to think that that's probably what a lot of Americans were doing these last few years. I don't think they were just sitting around putting money to dumb things like other people are saying. Obviously, there's some knuckleheads who are dumb and did stuff like that, but I don't think that represents every American. I think there are some Americans out there that would have loved to put money to the student loan debt, but that 0% accrual interest actually helped them because now that they have 0% interest on the student loans, they can focus on the other loans that have high interest still accruing, like credit card debt. Credit card debt did not get a payment pause like student loans did. So if these people owe $10,000, $20,000 in credit card debt, well, it would actually be much smarter to prioritize paying that off than your student loans. So I say all that to say this situation is not as cut and dry as you guys are trying to make it. And the last thing I want to say is I do have to call out Clarence Thomas, because Clarence Thomas is one of the justices that ruled against this. However, ProPublica exposed that billionaire Harlan Crow, which, remember, Clarence Thomas delayed putting out his financial disclosures probably because of this, right? Billionaire Harlan Crow paid the tuition, the school tuition, for Clarence Thomas's grandnephew, according to a report posted by ProPublica. He got $150,000 from billionaire Harlan Crow. I think this is extremely hypocritical, because not everybody is in a situation where they have billionaire friends who can give them money in exchange for God knows whatever political favor, because let's use our common sense here, folks. Let's use our brains. He's not giving him $150,000 for nothing. Come on, let's use our brains. Billionaires, I don't care how rich they are, billionaires never give out money they pay. Billionaires never give out money for free is what I meant to say. They don't ever just give you money out of the kindness of their hearts. Something happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know what he talked to Clarence Thomas about. I have no idea. But obviously he's getting what he wants, because this guy is a Republican. He supports a lot of the issues that Clarence Thomas is voting against. I'm sorry, not support. He is against a lot of the issues that Clarence Thomas is voting against. And he gave his grandnephew $150,000 to pay off his school tuition. Well, most Americans don't get that opportunity. You know what we get? We have to take out loans. And a lot of these loans are predatory. They specifically target and go after 17 and 18-year-old kids who, keep in mind, there's a lot of people right now with student loan debt who are first generation college graduates, which means their parents and grandparents didn't go to college, which means they can't go to their parents or grandparents for guidance on how to make the proper decision regarding college, because their parents don't know anything. They didn't go to college. So you can't blame the 18 and 19-year-old kids who got screwed over by this predatory student loan system and got tricked into getting a student loan and going to college. And now they're in a situation where they have a degree that doesn't pay enough for them to ever be able to pay their student loans. I truly do feel for them. Now, the only thing I will give the Republicans, I will give you this. If it is the case that most of the student loan borrowers who wanted the forgiveness are people who were just irresponsible financially and went out and made all these stupid purchases instead of taking care of responsibilities, then I agree with you. But I honestly, truly don't think that that's the case. And I really want to show you guys something else, because guess what? Let me go ahead and type it in real quick. There is a stat out there. As a matter of fact, this is actually fact. Americans, there's about 3.5 million Americans over the age of 60 that owe student loan debt. So it's not just young people. There's this notion out there that, oh, it's just a bunch of 20 to, 25 to 40-year-old millennials who want people to, who want taxpayers to pay off their loans. But that's really not the case. Look, right here, Market Watch. 3.5 million Americans aged 60 or older have student loan debt. Now, because this Supreme Court case, because they just struck it down, a bunch of these 60-year-olds are going to be working until they're like 80. And honestly, they're going to die with student loan debt. I hate to say it that way, but it's true. These 60-year-old Americans who are basically at the age of retirement, now that their loans are not being forgiven and student loan repayments are going to start in October, they're never going to get their loan. They're never going to have their loans paid off. It's over. They're going to die with that student loan debt. By the time they get to retirement, their paychecks are going to be garnished. And I feel terrible for them. I really, really feel for them. And I think that this is absolutely awful. So, yeah. Okay, well, I guess last thing I got to say is Biden is going to do a press conference today regarding the student loan forgiveness decision. He's probably doing it right now for all I know. I'm recording this video at about 10 o'clock. So I don't know. He might do it. He might not. But yeah, there's this article in The Hill that says that Biden is set to announce new actions on student loans at the Supreme Court. Now, the funny part is this actually isn't the only thing he can do. Let me see if I can find that tweet. I think Nina Turner is the one who said it. What does she say? Heroes Act. Let me see if I can find it real quick, and then I'll cut the video. But basically, Nina Turner said something about there's still something that Biden can do. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Yes, she did say it. She said if SCOTUS strikes down POTUS' plan to cancel student debt via HEROES Act, he can still use the Higher Education Act to cancel student loan debt. Let me go ahead and look that up so I can keep you guys informed. So she's saying, let me see, can Biden use the Higher Education Act to cancel student loan debt? Let's see. That would be interesting if that was an option, because I can tell you right now, progressives and other Democrats are definitely going to push Biden to do that. That's the other option. It says right here, I am reading the article out of News Nation. Advocates and lawmakers argue that President Biden can use the Higher Education Act to cancel student loan debt. The Higher Education Act of 1965 made student loan authorities permanent, which solidified their power to compromise. The law that Biden is currently drawing on to enact his debt forgiveness plans, the 2003 Higher Education Relief Opportunities Act, which requires okay, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so it looks like he can do it, or at least he can try. I don't know how that would go, but it looks like he can try. But anyway, the Republicans have won. They are kicking our butts. It is what it is. I don't know what to really say. I guess just stay tuned and see what Biden ends up saying in his press conference. And yeah, student loan payments are going to restart in October. Yeah, it sucks, but that's just what it is. So anyway, those are my thoughts regarding the whole thing. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this student loan forgiveness thing. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.